Hi, I'm George Nordhaus, and we have another unusual presentation for Monday morning today, because what we have here is a tremendous success story that I'm going to tell you about, and you can relate to that, I hope. And then we're going to tell you what this person who has been extremely successful in our business, more than most people I know, is doing now that he's already been successful. He's not even stopping, and I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. Our speaker is, Are You Tired of Being a Commodity? That's really a great title, because you know how I'm crazy on commodity situation. We're going to take that. But let me tell you who's going to be with us today. We're going to have Mahlon Buck. Now, Mahlon entered the business back in '70. Mahlon, you tell us about it, will you?
Sure. How are you, George?
Perfect.
I started in the insurance business in 1970. I was with Aetna Life and Casualty for 9 years, and then realized I didn't want to stay in the large insurance company. Decided to join an insurance agency. I came to Fresno, California, and found an insurance agency called Johnsie Insurance in 1979, and worked there until 2004, when we sold to Arthur J. Gallagher. But between 1979 and 2004 was the interesting part. I had a partner for the first few years, and then I got a different partner in 1995, and about 1995 is when I recognized that we really had to be doing some things differently. In 1995, we had $2.2 million of revenue, and 9 years later, we had grown it from $2.2 million of revenue to $7.4 million of revenue. But more importantly, our revenue per employee had gone up from 78 to 183,000. Now remember,
Fantastic.
This is in 2004. So our agency had been in business for 53 years, and we had $2.2 million of revenue. And 9 years later, we'd grown it to 7.4. So we did some things differently. We sold Johnsie to Arthur J. Gallagher in 2004. And also, prior to selling to Gallagher, we had started a little internet company. And very fortunately, in November of 2011, we sold Health Connect to a national firm as well.
I've heard about guys like you. Wow, look at those numbers. I'm pretty scared. I'm impressed. I don't know whether I can. I don't know whether I'm strong enough to be able to interview you here, because
George, let's not kid each other. I'm a very, very lucky person. That's all that I've had.
Yeah, because you took charge of your life and you made the differences. And why did you do it that way? Tell us why you did it that way.
Well, in 1995, quite honestly, I was completely burnt out as an insurance agent. I felt like that we were no more professional than a used car salesman. I would go out and beg somebody to quote their insurance. We'd go out and we'd spend all this money and time and energy to do as nice a proposal as we possibly could. Then the guy would then take the proposal, go to the back page, and make a decision based on price. And if that's not the definition of what a commodity is, and I just was really frustrated with it. And this slide that you're looking at is a quote from the president of IBM, and it says, whatever business you're in, it's going to commoditize over time. It's going to devalue. You have to keep moving it to a higher value. And there's no larger truth than that statement from this lady. This next slide, if you'll show that, George.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Got my picture there in the middle. I see. Go ahead.
Well, insurance is a commodity, and years ago, back in 1993, I was at a seminar, and George, yeah, let's go ahead and put that. I was at a seminar with a group of about 20 different insurance agencies, and this consultant comes along and asks us to tell him what makes our agency unique. Well, we went through the same pitches that everybody else does. We've been in business since 1942. The next one says, well, they've got great claim service. The next one says that they've got, and at the end of this, we basically said the same things that everybody else had said. At the end of this, the guy took a piece of paper that he had written out before. He had already written 10 of the 12 things that we had said. So
every other agency was doing the same thing too.
everybody was doing the same thing. And he said that what you have to have is a unique selling proposition. And I thought, well, that's brilliant. But tell me what that is. And that was in 1993. Well, in 1995, I was introduced to the alternative insurance market. And at the time, George, go ahead and hit that.
Yeah, sure. Sorry.
At this very same time I was introduced to the alternative insurance market, I was reading a book by a Dr. Michael Moore. And Dr. Moore is a professor at Harvard University. He's written over 20 books. He currently does very limited consulting, but when he consults, his fee is $6,000 an hour. He's just a brilliant man.
An hour, $6,000. $6,000 an hour. Excuse me, $6,000 an hour. I don't think I can hire him for much more than a few days here. Go ahead.
I didn't hire him. I just read his book.
You were smart.
What he said, that if you're going to outperform your peers, there are only 3 ways you can do it. One is to have the lowest cost. Well, we're in the insurance agency business, and the insurance companies determine the price, so we can't always have the lowest price. The second is to dominate a niche. Well, I've worked for Arthur J. Gallagher, and they're a great company, but as big as Arthur J. Gallagher is, as large as Marsh is, as large as Aon, none of the insurance agencies that I'm aware of dominates a niche. Now, if you're a General Electric, you can do that, but there's no insurance agency that truly dominates a niche. And I knew at John Z. Insurance we couldn't do that. But the third was differentiate their products. And that really hit with me because at that very time I was introduced to captive insurance. And we took captives and spent 2.5 years really understanding and studying captives to make sure we understood them backwards and forwards, because here we have an insurance agency that's in Fresno, California. It's been around for 53 years. It had a good reputation. We'd done all the branding that we talk about and all that stuff. We had a good reputation, but the reality was that our average revenue per account was probably $750 per account. So we weren't very profitable, and we were looked at as just a commodity. But one thing we had was we were honest. And I was scared to death that if I got into captives and I didn't really understand what captives were, and I put somebody into a captive and it blew up, I knew that that 53-year reputation should be destroyed. So we spent 2.5 years really studying alternative insurance markets and captives. And in the next 7 years, we added 70 captives to John Z. Insurance. Wow. And just completely changed the way we had done business in the past. And we quit being a commodity, and we quit bidding insurance, and really went out and talked to people about moving from the traditional insurance market and making and building a separate profit center for their business. And it totally changed the way we did business, and really changed my life as well.
Let me get this straight. You've had 70. I never heard of an agency running 70 captives. That must be one of the big. You were bigger some of the big guys in captives, I would think.
When I was at John Z. Insurance, we always looked and was trying to figure out how we could do better. And I looked at the large agencies and always thought that they had something that we didn't have. And I was surprised when we were purchased by Arthur J. Gallagher. We had more captive business than any other insurance agency that they had ever purchased. And Gallagher does a great job in the middle market captive business.
Wow. Well, that's something to be proud of. Well, what are you, here's all of a sudden you've sold your agency, you've made a bundle of money, you've sold your other organization, your internet organization, you made a lot of money. Why don't you go retire in Tahiti or something, huh?
Well, I did retire. Retired January 31st last year, 2013, and February 1st of 2013, I started this new business called Buck Agency Consulting. And basically, I'm 66 years old. I feel like I'm a lot younger than 66 years old. I always, until I look in the mirror, and then I realize I'm 66 years old.
You sound younger.
But I still have a lot of energy, and what has excited me is being able to work with an independent insurance agency and go in and really transform the way they are doing business. The majority of agencies that I am working with are not huge agencies. They have no idea of what really captives are. But what I do is I go in and I have a very structured classroom. It takes 30 hours, and I'll spend 40 hours if it takes it, but it's designed around 30 hours of the classroom where I'm teaching captives, and they will learn more in that 30 hours than I did in 2.5 years. And then in addition to that, I bring a whole new marketing concept to them, along with ideas about how to market, the telephone script I give them, and I give them a script about an email that is followed up with each of those phone calls. So it has been exciting. It's been the most rewarding year of my life as far as being able to see how I can really change independent insurance agencies that are interested in changing.
Mahlon, I don't understand something now. Are you helping them then create a captive, or take a captive, or sell for a captive? What do you...
To sell for a captive. They're learning how that they can take, and most of them don't have large accounts, but how to go out. Let me even step back a little bit.
All
when
right.
I was at Johnsy Insurance, and we were just treated as a commodity, there were about 100 accounts in the San Joaquin Valley that I knew I would have loved to have written. But the truth of the matter is, if I went out and competed with a regional broker or an Aon and said, look, Mr. Prospect, I'm with Johnsy Insurance. We've been around since 1942. We have great insurance markets. I knew I wasn't going to be able to compete and take that business away. When we learned captives, we were able to go out and take business away from the regional brokers, and that's how we added 70 new captive clients to Johnsy Insurance over a 7-year period of time. And that's what I'm doing and teaching now to an independent insurance agent.
Well, I still have a question. Do you
Yes?
do you create captives? Do they create a captive? Or I asked that before, but I'm not quite sure I got an answer that I understand. Do you have them create captives?
No.
Okay, that's a good answer.
I work with a company that has already got 27 different captives. But what we do differently is we take an agency, and they've got 27 different captives that they can present. And what I do differently is they learn captives backwards and forwards so that they can go out and market and truly transform the way they do business. The captives are already set up. That's not the problem. The problem is that people have never taken the time and spent the time to learn captives so that they can go out and market.
I understand perfectly. How are they doing, the ones that you've been working with?
It's been phenomenal. Yesterday I was with an agency that has been around for 30-something years. Probably an average, I really don't know what their average revenue per employee, revenue per account is, but they don't have a lot of large accounts. They've got a great reputation. We were out yesterday on an account, myself and 2 of their producers, on an automobile dealership that has 17 dealerships. And the presentation went phenomenal. The 2 producers walked out of that meeting, and they were high as a kite, because from all indications, now it'll take time. It'll take a period of time to find out what the losses are and develop all of this. But this person that we made this presentation to understood immediately the whole concept of what was being done, and they were excited about putting together the information so that an analysis could be done. But the most important thing that excites me is that that agency, prior to getting into the captive business, prior to me working with them, this would have been the largest account that they'd ever made a presentation to.
Wow. Boy, that's a great story. Well, I think I probably have a pretty good idea. Let's wrap it up, and you wrap it up, will you? And then we'll give them a way to talk to you. Go ahead.
Well, the world is changing, and I've got a picture here of the telephone companies, travel agencies, the record industry, and the newspapers. Everybody knows that those industries have changed. 10 years ago, if somebody would have told the newspapers, how big a change that was going to be. They would never have believed it. Only those industries that are willing to change and only the people that are willing to change are going to succeed in the 21st century. And for example, travel agencies. There's no more travel agencies as we used to know them historically, but there are still travel agencies around that really are very, very successful. But what they figured out is they don't just quote airline quotes anymore. They develop a whole way of traveling and present a whole way of seeing the world. And those travel agencies are doing well. Insurance agencies that are willing to change today, and especially be able to change in the area of the product, the future is really bright. And more importantly, you quit feeling like a commodity and you really realize what professional selling is all about.
Well, that's a beautiful way to put it. I totally agree with you. Let me ask you one last question or two here, Mahlon. How do you charge? Do you take a piece of the action, or is that how you charge people, or you just charge them a fee to come in and do it, or what? How do you charge them?
What I do is I charge a fee to come in and go through the 30 hours of class. In that fee, they also get a whole marketing system that we go over. We spend a lot of time. And then the second way I get paid is when they get an appointment, and it'll only take a few times before they really get to the point where they are 100% comfortable and don't need me. But I will go out with them on all the calls that they want me to, and for that I get a fee. I'll take 25% of the first year commission and 25% of the second year commission and nothing thereafter.
Wow, boy, oh boy, boy, but they haven't got anything to lose because it's going to be a lot higher than they would have had to begin with. That's a beautiful thing, Mahlon. I'm really glad on two or three bases, and one of which is that you're staying in the business that you loved. And the fact that you sold your agencies and sold your other thing has not stopped you from still going, because I know I've been working with you for many, many years, and I really, I've always appreciated what you did, but not anything like this. When I saw those numbers, I flipped. But you're still at it, and I really like that. If somebody, why quit when you're really good at what you do, right? Just because you're good, huh? I think.
Well, I love the challenge, and working with independent insurance agencies that are interested in, if they're tired of just being a commodity and really want to change, I have enjoyed this more than I've ever done anything in my life.
Well, that's a beautiful way to put it, and I want everybody to know there's a good way. You talk to Mahlon. He's right there in California, and he's and you can talk to him at any time. If he's not in his home in San Francisco, you can call him there. I'm sure that you can still get Mahlon at any rate. And don't forget to go back to the email. And if you want to, this is all archived now. And I think this is the 36th one in a row, Mahlon, that we've done. So that's quite a lot. But we're just getting started. And if people listen to you, boy, they're going to be just getting started too. So Mahlon, again, from all of us, thank you for sharing your time and your effort and staying in the business and being somebody that we can point to and say, hey, I used to know him. He was just an agent. He's not just an agent anymore.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, George, but honestly, if anyone that listens to this that is interested in learning something new and exciting and really rewarding, please give me a call or send me an email. I'd love to talk to you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, and we'll see you guys next month.